Hi, I'm Murray Tinker and I'm interviewing Mike McClure, who's the owner of Quadway Hoops and Terminator Mallets here in Nelson, New Zealand. And we're just having a talk about his company and how he set it up. So Mike, how did you get started with Terminator Mallets?
I got sucked in. Oh dear, they're having an open day at Croaky on Sunday. Oh, would you like to come? Why? Oh, because it's this new game of golf croquet. And, oh, okay. So, next Sunday comes around. Oh, Michael, would you like to come to golf croquet today? Why? Oh, I thought you had fun last week. Oh, yes? Well, why didn't you come today? Oh, okay. Well, the next thing you know, you're on the committee, then you're the treasurer, then you. So for that Christmas, this was about August, that all happened, and that Christmas Eleanor bought me a mallet for my Christmas present, and it was a well-made mallet. Ray Puckett used to be in his prime back then, 20 years ago, and it was a short mallet. It was only 9 inches long, and although I won a lot of stuff with it, I always felt that it was a bit on the short side. And so almost a year later I bought a 10-inch one. Wow, what an upgrade. And then about the same time Ray was working on one that he called the International, and I thought, oh, by crikey, he's on the right track here. But then he stopped making that, and or appeared to stop making it, I should say. And so I started tinkering around and learning some stuff about what weight a mallet should actually be and how heavy a ball is and all the rest of it. And so started then. So that was about 2002, I suppose, beginning of 2002. So about 21 years ago now. And then one thing led to another, and you progress, and then somebody comes along and says, oh, can you make some wooden ones for our club? So, okay, but you're selling them, I'm not going to sell them. So we learned some things from that, and round about then I went and played in Egypt and down in South Africa, and some worlds that were here in New Zealand, and so got to talk to people, and so things progressed from there. And then we went on to do the carbon fibre, of course, and back when I first came across the carbon fibre, they were the round tube ones being made in the UK. And I didn't like that idea of the roundness of them, and then they came out with a sort of a D-shaped front head, and didn't quite like that. So experimented, and then had a mould made for making the actual carbon fibre. And sure, you can get it made in China, but by the time you paid for the mould so we do that all in-house, and works pretty well. Then, back a wee ways, the Quadway Hoops came in about the same time, I'm trying to think now, back away. Anyway, it was one of the major world events was held down in Christchurch, and Chris Clark and Ray Atkins had developed, and Ray progressed through and got the machining organised for the hoops. They're a very clever piece of work, and I just liked them from the first day I saw them. And when you saw how top players, they only had to make rover and peg off, bang, and they'd stick halfway through rover. Oh, hello, this is going to take the game, and has taken the game to a whole new level. So Ray had been he was getting on in years, and he was wanting to sell the business, but he hadn't really contacted many people. And eventually a lady from Croaky, New Zealand said, oh Mike, you wouldn't be interested in taking over and buying out Quadway Hoops. Well, they were Ray Atkins hoops in those days. And I said, oh, why? And he said, oh, he's wanting to sell. So that was Sunday. On the Monday, I phoned Ray. Wednesday, I was in Christchurch. Friday, I bought the business. And so it's all been go since then. They're a lovely piece of gear, and the quality control on them is just amazing.
So I like the product so much I bought the company.
Yeah, just like the old Gillette. Not Gillette, what was it? Who was that? It was one of the shaver ones, wasn't it? Not Philly Shave, it was the other one. So nice piece.
So when did you go into business full time? You're pretty near full time now.
Oh, absolutely full time. I normally do about 45, 46 hours a week. We've got full time staff, and so really became full time round about 2015. And
so how many countries have now got your products?
Quite a lot. The Spain has been a growing area, and I see Spanish players showing up in all sorts of things, and so that's been an interesting new market. The United States also has a lot of activity. One of the ladies who was down at the World's Ladies in Christchurch earlier in the year, she was saying, oh, it's so nice, everybody here knows everybody. And they said, oh well, we've got about 60 members. Oh, 60. How many members have you got? Oh, about 300. So totally different business model in the United States. I was very wary of that market for a long time because of elements of scale and just some things. We didn't want to ever get into a lower end of the market where you're competing with mass production countries, China, India, and so on. And so we're better off working with a good quality product that's reliable and people like. It's quite important.
So you're still offering the lifetime guarantee with your product?
My lifetime. And I had one come back from one of our young guns. He's had a mallet for about 6 years now, and is right up there. He was probably one of the ones who beat me up when I got upgraded into the top 10 golf croquet invitation. Yes. And the young guns, they'll smack the skin off the ball, and it can damage the carbon fibre mallets. It will rotate the front of the head so it tips in, and it can damage the fibres. Now there's huge forces involved, and so they'll pop that back, and we do whatever's necessary. And so his one arrived up for having some end tidy up work done, and so we did that and tidied it up and went back looking like a brand new mallet. So he'll be quite tickled with that.
Oh, that's great. I can vouch for Mike's repair. I could not get my handle out, and Mike managed to fix it for me.
I'm sure you can get medication for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It's usually little things that cause issues. Like people will bonk their mallet down on concrete and chip the bottoms, and in the timber-based mallets, which we do quite a few of, and they're pretty robust little mallet. But with timber, of course, through the chips, out on the lawns, wet lawns, fertiliser, up it goes.
So that's your Horace range?
Yes, yeah. Very good beginner's mallet, purposely made lighter in weight for golf croquet. You can play AC with them, but you need to modify your style to take advantage of the lightweight, and your roll shots need a wee bit of a change because they're just under 2 pounds, and on a croquet shot, 2 balls, at £1
Yep.
each, £2. So if you're hitting 2 pounds of balls with a £2 mallet, you're going to have to just modify your technique. But Greg Bryant, who's well known in the international and New Zealand
Yep.
community, he used to play with a lightweight head that was only £1.13 in the head, and he used to do spectacular stop shots, and that was partly why his mallet was light and it wasn't adding that extra energy. When he changed over to his Pidcock that he's been playing with for years now and doing very well, he had to modify his style a wee bit to take advantage of that additional weight. So yes, you can play with, a good player could basically play with a bit of 4x2 on the end of a broom handle and beat you up and beat me up, probably with one arm tied behind the back.
So, Mike, if somebody's interested in your mallets or your Quadway hoops, what's the best approach for them to contact you?
Go into Google, type in either Terminator or Quadway and croquet, boom, up it'll come. Now, I don't have a shop on the website at this point, purposely. It saves a whole lot of naughty things happening. But what happens is most of my customers for mallets are individuals, just like you and me, and they'll often want to have a chat. So if I get an order for 12 top of the range, 1 foot long carbon extremes with this handle and that handle coming from Saudi Arabia or somewhere, I'm going to say, oh, what club do you play for and what's your handicap?
That's right, yeah.
So having that personal interaction with a client is really good.
So, Mike, what have you got product pipeline? Have you got anything coming along?
Yes, we've got a couple of interesting bits and pieces. One of them in the Quadway hoops. Slight difference. One of the issues with any new thing is that the moment you go public with it, too late for doing anything about patents. And that was one of the issues with the Quadway hoops, is they were out there before any intellectual property work had been done. So we're quietly tinkering always with little improvements or little things that could make things better. The hoops themselves are a pretty good product on their own. With the mallets are a journey rather than a destination. And while a lot of the things are done by machine so that you get good accuracy, there's always that personal input of what are we looking at for the weight or the strength or the whatever. Medium term, of course, I tried for immortality one time, but it's quite difficult to do. And I find with staff that you get a good one and usually they don't want to be adopted, or their husband doesn't want them to be adopted. So staff are one of those valuable assets. So on my wall in the office, I've got a big 5. Well, last year it was a big 5. It's now a big 4. And come Christmas, that 4 is going to come out and there's going to be a big 3 showing. So it's kind of my countdown, because one of those things is you don't want to go in the business until you get taken out by the undertaker. And so while you're still enjoying it, it can take time to find somebody who would love to do that. And just like Ray with the hoops, I didn't know that Ray was wanting a change.
Yep.
And when I found out, wow, this was so exciting. So it can take time to find somebody who might be interested in taking over bits or parts of whatever, because it's sort of sad if you've got all of the knowledge for how things work and how to make things and procedures, and it's a bit like Alan in the UK making the mallets. He found somebody a successor who took over the business and is making beautiful mallets over there now, and that's good. It's good for croquet and it's good for both of them.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. It was a very enlightening interview, and I wish you well for your next 3 years and some days.
Good on you.
Thank you.
And not a lot of people in the world know that we grew up in the same little town of Invercargill, and that was a long time ago now.
And I like the way you use the word tinkering all the time, because that's my word.
Good to spend time with you, Mr. Tinker.
Thank you very much, Mr. McClure.